My name is George Omolo. I'm a counseling psychologist, and that is my profession. I've been a counselor for a while. I've been seeing a number of people, handling a different number of cases of people that have been struggling with addiction and mental illnesses. Currently, I am a counseling psychologist and a mental health in that case, handling a number of cases that people are facing in their daily lives. Today we will speak about addiction, and a brief about addiction. There's a question that some people or somebody might need to ask, that what is this thing called addiction, and why would we say that somebody is under addiction, and what are these things that a person gets addicted to? One, addiction is just an habit that forms when you're coming to do something more frequently. It can be a thing that you've been doing on a daily basis, and after some times, these things takes and forms into you, and so it becomes a part and parcel of you. For instance, you'll come and realize that there are people who maybe they will consider drinking some tea almost every day, and they cannot even work without taking that tea, and it might to them feel like it's a booster. It's something that makes them to feel that they are more into it. It's something that gives them more of an energy. So addiction, it's just a formation of a certain habit that comes in terms of alcohol use. Mention the substances. It can come as a result of what are you taking, and when you're taking these things, it brings that thing that it's called you become dependent into something, into a substance, into alcohol, into smoking, into mention all these number of substances that are there almost every day. So that is now where we can bring in the addiction bit of it. And so another thing that we need to understand about what addiction is, addiction becomes part and parcel of you, and you find yourself getting into a situation, or rather a condition, where you cannot overcome what you're going through. What are these things that a person finds himself into? I will give a number of things that people will get addicted to. People may get addicted into sexual acts and behaviors. People may get themselves addicted into alcohol, into substance. These are the main thing, the main three things that people usually find themselves into them. And a question that again we might be asking ourselves: who gets into addiction? Who gets into addiction? It's a good question that will make you as an individual to know that addiction is not a respecter of anybody. It goes from any age to any age. It will start as a result of peer pressure. You want to test a number of things. You will say that there is this habit that is coming up, and I want to walk into that lifestyle. I want to do this thing as other people are doing. I want to smoke because I'm seeing some people are smoking. I just want to do it for fun. But now when you're getting into yourself doing it for fun, then it becomes part and parcel of you. So let's look at it again and reconsider going back to the question that we are asking ourselves about who now becomes into addiction. Addiction, anybody can get himself addicted into a substance. Either you are a lady, either you are a man, either you are a child, either you are a middle-aged person or an old-age person. Addiction, it's real, and everybody finds themselves into them. Substances that are most likely to be abused are some of the substances that people get themselves so into them that the addiction now becomes even strong and real. Let's give a good example of a substance like alcohol use. Majority gets into alcohol use. It's something that you'll say that I'm doing it because my friends are doing it. I'm doing it because it's my class that are doing it. I'm doing it because the family that I am in, they actually bring alcohol so that we drink in any occasions that we are having in the family. Or it can be, you will say that my religion permits me to do to drink. My religions permit me to do 1, 2, and 3. That now you side on the religion, and by the time you're coming to realize that you are sinking into this thing, then you have weakened every resource within you that makes you to be sober enough, that makes you to decide by yourself. And now you cannot stand by yourself, you cannot decide by yourself, and now you find yourself into a certain cage. And when you are in that cage, now this is the cage that I'm calling it addiction cage. When you are in this cage, remember, there is nobody that is coming to get you out of it. Let me give you another good scenario apart from using the term cage, but we can use this term, the bottomless pit. It's more of a pit that you've fallen into, and there is no place that you can hold so that you can find yourself moving out of that bottomless pit. That is now a good explanation of what addiction is. And so when you are within that place, sometimes you come back to your senses and you'll feel like, I'm doing the right thing, yet I cannot find myself out of the situation that I am in. Yes, I am into drinking, I'm into smoking, I'm into doing all these things, mention them, but you cannot find yourself getting out of that situation. Why? Because you've formed a dependency syndrome that you cannot walk, or you cannot wake up and go to work before you remove what we call lock. You cannot do some assignments before you get something called a starter, and by the end of the day, you've fallen yourself into a situation where the only person who can now come into your aid, it's either a psychiatrist who love to do some assessment. You'll be taken through a process of detox, and you'll be taken through psychiatric intervention, where you will be walking through a process. Can we call it maybe sobriety process, where now we are going to bring you back into who you are? Like I said, that maybe if this is a person by the name George who's been struggling with addiction, and he's been battling with this condition and these behaviors, and now I've found myself in a situation where I cannot get out of that. You need to ask yourself, what is sobriety? Sobriety is the state of you as an individual becoming into a state of good mind, of wellness, where you understand that I am George and I want to live my life without getting back into the substance that I've been struggling with, and I want to keep myself away, and I want to distance myself completely into the drugs and the substance that I've been using that has made me to sink into addiction. So sobriety is a process. What makes sobriety to be a process is this. One, when you've come to realize that I am into addiction, and you've accepted that I am into addiction, and you've come to a point and you've realized that there is nothing much that I can do by myself and I need help, that is the first way to go. Accepting that you need help. And when you come to your senses and you come to an agreement and you come to believe that I want to be helped out, then that is the right time and that is the right place where now you can be helped, because already you've understood yourself, and you know that the thing that has been struggling with, it's something that I can get it out of myself. So what are we going to do in this place? One, you might find yourself in facilities, or rather a mental health hospital, or rather a mental health facility, where you as an individual, you'll go through a process called detoxification. Detoxification, yes, you've been using alcohol. Let me use alcohol in this case, that we've been using alcohol. It is more into your body, and we are trying to walk you through into a process of being sober at whatever cost. So you'll be taken through a process called detoxification process. Basically, detoxification processes is just a process that it's trying to make you to rid off the substances out of your body, out of your blood, so that when the substances are readed off, then another process that comes in, it's now a therapeutic intervention. A therapeutic intervention here is where now you get to meet a psychologist, you get to meet a counselor, you get to interact with psychiatrists every day, because there are some medication that you'll be using every day to make sure that the things to do with the cravings that you're battling with are being handled by the medication that you're using, so that you'll not find yourself developing withdrawal symptoms that can even make you, when they are so severe, they can even make you to lose your life. Because by the end of the day, in as much as detoxification is happening and you are struggling with the urge of that cigarette that you've been smoking, that bang that you've been smoking, that alcohol that you've been struggling with, they are substitute. And these substitutes are what now comes into place into helping you as an individual not to long for the substance that you've been using that has already been taken out of the body. And so when this detoxification process is done with, and then the counselor now comes in, here now is where you go through psychoeducation, you go through a number of therapies, and what can be entailed in these therapies could include part of psychoeducation will be just a brief understanding and a brief overview of what this substance do to your body. Maybe you can be given a skeletal figure of your body, and then you can be told that now when you're using this, when you're abusing this substance, how is it affecting your body? How is it affecting your reproductive health? How is it affecting your digestive system? How is it affecting your respiratory system? How is it affecting your lungs? How is it mention all those parts of the body? Because when you're getting into alcoholism and you've sunk so much into it, remember there are a number of things that has happened to your body. And so this counselor now comes in to do you a psychoeducation of what has happened to your body, in as much as the psychiatrist had given you a brief part of what has been happening with you, in as much as medication are being used to handle your situation. After counseling has been done, then we will have to go through another process of rehabilitation process. Rehabilitation process, it's just a 90 days process, 3 months process, and in this 90 days, the number of things that are happening, either that psychiatrist will still come and meet you where you in that facility that you're being rehabilitated. Maybe there are some resident psychologists in that place that will continue doing their counseling and their therapies that are person-centered. Because remember, here, the people that made you, or rather the person that made you to come into the substance use, could be self, could be friends, could be family. Mention that map that we can call it the echo map. Mention that map that is surrounding you, so that you'll be trained, you'll be taught, you'll get to learn how you're going to live with your friends, how you're going to live with your family, how you're going to manage your peers, how maybe you're going to manage your finances within this 90 days period. And so as you walk through the sobriety process, an individual that is battling with this condition will strive to make sure that this individual is kept away from any substance that he or she desires to use or has been using, in that case for a period of 90 days. And after 90 days, when this person is going to walk out of the rehabilitation and he'll be reintegrated back into his environment, he will look into himself, he or she will look into himself and will be able to articulate what he learned and put them in place, and will be able to know that even if I'm not going to meet even if I'm not going to be seeing this therapist every day, even if I'm not going to be seeing this counselor every day, even if I'm not going to be seeing this psychiatrist every day, I still have to live a life that is free from substance, that is free from mention all these things that this individual has been battling with. And then by the end of the day, you'll be able to go back to your society, and people will look into you and say that we know that this George had been battling with 1, 2, and 3, but he has come back after 90 days and he's now sober, he's not drinking, he's not smoking, and his life has changed completely. And so you'll be seen as an agent of change. you can get back again to that environment and you can inform people's life, and they can see you again as a person that has made it to walk out of the dungeons of addiction, as a person that has made it to sober up, as a person that has made it to go back to that society and tell people that, you see, you can never battle this thing alone, and you see, you've managed it out. So sobriety is basically looking into yourself, coming out of this addiction, finding yourself more in a way that you can stand, you can make decisions that, I know substance has affected my life, substance has affected me, and I've decided that I'm going to walk out of it. In as much as everybody is battling any kind of addiction, one thing that you need to take home with you is this, that no matter any addiction that you are facing, or rather you are battling with, it's something that you can walk out of it strongly and firmly. If you align yourself to the right sources, to the right people, to the right institutions that are ready to hold your hands, that are ready to walk with you. And the greatest thing, build your self-esteem. And when you cannot stand a situation that you've been battling with, look for a person who can listen to you, who can hold your hands, who can get you out of what you're going through. And if that person cannot manage to walk you out of that addiction, go for the institutions that are there to help and to listen to you. They'll give you a best and a good way forward, how you can handle and how you can manage yourself.